Back on the radio. Thank you, Dan Mandis, for filling in yesterday. The phone number here, 877-973-7425. We've got to dive right into the news, and particularly the talking point that doesn't seem to want to go away. Y'all, there are some not very bright people and some very bright people with ulterior motives, some of whom are funded by the Qatari government, others by the Chinese, and some just because they root against the United States. And they've looped in a bunch of mentally vulnerable people to toe their line that somehow we are engaged in nation building in Iran. We're engaged in nation building in Iran, they're telling us. Tucker Carlson said that Russia would come to Iran's aid as we got to World War III. Tucker Carlson apparently does not realize how many Russians vacation in Tel Aviv and not Iran. And the Russians have said they will not come to Iran's aid. So that the talking point is gone. Tucker Carlson says we're engaged in nation building. His sycophants as well say we are engaged in nation building. Are there American soldiers in Iran? Are there? I can't seem to find anyone to tell me that American soldiers are in Iran. What about the American Air Force? Are we dropping bombs in Iran? Are we? To my knowledge, we are not dropping bombs in Iran. And even if we were, how would it be nation building? We've got the mental midgets and the people 30 feet above a runway insist that any use of American force these days is nation building. No, it's nation building. We're bombing Iran. First of all, we're not bombing Iran. And even if we were, do we have boots on the ground? Are we doing a military invasion of Iran? If not, it's not nation building. Put your panties back on instead of trying to set them on fire. Grow up. I mean, talk about there are a class of male pundit in this country who really do need the tampons in the boys' bathroom because of their hysteria over, oh, it's nation building. Oh, we're going to war. No, we're not. Top Gun Maverick, True Lies. There's a massive list of American media that involves the United States government stopping Islamic fundamentalists from getting nuclear weapons. And everybody loves those movies, including the people screaming about nation building. And you don't go to the movie and say, oh, it's nation building. We're stopping the Islamic fundamentalists from getting nuclear weapons. No, you go and say, this is good because these people will actually use the nuclear weapon because they think it'll bring about the apocalypse. We kind of don't want the apocalypse. I've seen some of these people say, why does Israel get nukes and not Iran? Because Israel doesn't want to bring about the apocalypse. Iran does. There are fundamentally different. And Iraq and Afghanistan broke so many people's brains. You know, it's possible to overlearn the lessons of George W. Bush, Iraq and Afghanistan. And by the way, Afghanistan, do you know we had gone several years without any American deaths until Joe Biden's withdrawal. We actually were training the Afghans to rebuild. Yes, we were sending American soldiers over there, but we were propping up an Afghani government, and it was the Afghans who were dying. 2,000 Afghan soldiers a year, roughly, were dying against the Taliban, not a single American soldier. It was actually a very successful project that gets rewritten by people because of various agenda. Iraq was not good. We bungled Iraq. We should have never gone in and done the way we did it. But to extrapolate that, oh, Iran is going to be just like Iraq. Actually, you know a fundamental difference? Unlike Iraq, Iran has a highly technical, educated, and sophisticated middle class that's very pro-America. Some guy came after me online and said, actually, according to Grok, which is AI, according to Grok, the people of Iran have a very negative opinion of the United States in multiple surveys. The people of Iran are executed if they don't go in the streets and burn American flags and chant death to America. The people, they're literally murdered by the regime if they don't go in the streets and burn flags. The people of Iran have their cell phones and their landline phones eavesdropped on by the Iranian government. Do you really think a people who live in a police state like that are going to come out and say, we really love the Americans, just don't tell the government. However, Iran has one of the largest diasporas in the world. There are massive populations of Iranians in the United States, in Canada, in Great Britain, throughout Europe. You go talk to those people who regularly, by the way, go back to Tehran and the rest of Iran, and they'll tell you, actually, I mean, these people are very pro-West. I realize most of you have never been there. Some of my best friends growing up had fled the Iranian Revolution. These people have a highly technical and sophisticated middle and upper middle class. They are repressed by a regime that is a minority regime that imposes a level of repression on the people to keep them in line. Israel says its goal is regime change. That's not what Donald Trump says his goal is. His goal is to end their ability to get a nuclear weapon. And if the government collapses, so be it. It is wild, though, to see these people who invested all of their hopes and dreams in Donald Trump, and suddenly Donald Trump's like, you know what? We can't allow Iran to have nukes. And it's also, it's not a coincidence, the level of anti-Semitism. You've got Marjorie Taylor Greene out there who believes the Jews have giant space lasers, who is siding with Tucker Carlson, who also believes Israel is bad. The anti-Semites are kind of revealing themselves in this. You scratch someone screaming about a nation-building project in Iran, and you'll be startled to see that they're actually anti-Semites underneath. Not all of them, but a great many of them. Donald Trump has had enough of Tucker Carlson bloviating about all of this.
Yeah. I don't know what Tucker Carlson is saying. Let him go get a television network and say it so that people listen. Thank you.
Let him go get a television so people can see him. Yeah, Tucker, you got to be hyper online to pay attention to Tucker these days, who Donald Trump is additionally called Kooky Carlson. It is this weird thing. So Carlson, he sides with Russia against Ukraine. And what is the United States doing there? We're not nation building in Ukraine. We're giving Ukraine access to weaponry to kill Russians so we don't have to. We're providing, at best that we know of, and no one wants to confirm it, but it seems very clear, we're providing Israel midair refueling capabilities so Israel can take the fight. And all of these people keep saying, let Israel do it. We don't need to do it. Let Israel do it. So Israel does it. And they're like, oh my gosh, we're nation building. We've got to stop. Isn't it interesting? Any use of American force is bad with these people. Isn't it wild? You got Qatar throwing money around out there. You got China now throwing money around out there. There's interestingly this trend on social media, the number of people who are standing up saying, I'm an American and I will not go die in Iran. And when you actually pull the covers back on Twitter, these people are like from Pakistan, they're from Somalia, they're masquerading as Americans. Bottom line here. The men who sit to pee are upset about America helping Israel, one of our great allies, while Israel is doing all the heavy lifting. That should tell you everything you need to know, that we're not actually doing anything in Iran, and they're screaming about it because many of them hate Israel. You've got that supposed comedian, that Dave Smith guy or whatever. I don't think he's very funny. He claims to be an anarcho-libertarian. He now wants Donald Trump impeached after backing Donald Trump for what? What did Donald Trump do? He stopped Israel. He didn't stop Israel. Not an American fighter jet has launched any attack at Iran. And even if it did, again, we're stopping the bad guys from getting bombs. A lot of people academically are willing to say, oh, we can't allow Iran to get a nuclear weapon. And then when we actually stop Iran from getting nuclear, oh my God, we're nation building? No, we're not nation building. It's a stupid talking point by unsophisticated people, some of whom actually are very sophisticated and probably getting some money under the table to advance interests against the United States of America. And they've got a bunch of rubes who they've duped to echo the talking points that actually, at the end of the day, when you look and see what's happening, is contrary to what they're saying. Where is the nation building? I personally would love regime change in Iran because I think the Iranians are lovely people who would be able to take over. Unlike in Iraq, they would be able to take over. I personally would love the regime change. Israel says it wants regime change. Donald Trump just says, I want them to have no nuclear weapons. And these people who said, this is what I voted for, this is what I voted for, I voted for this, are suddenly, oh my God, I did not vote for this. Donald Trump has literally for 10 years said Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. And now they're surprised that Donald Trump is keeping his word. They've bragged for 10 years that Donald Trump is our man. He keeps his word. He doesn't lie to us like anybody, all the other politicians. And along comes Iran saying it's going to get a nuclear weapon, and Donald Trump says, no, the hell you're not. These people are like, oh my God, I didn't vote for this. Donald Trump has literally for 10 years been campaigning on Iran cannot get a nuclear weapon. Iran was on the verge of getting a nuclear weapon. And all you people say, well, Tulsi Gabbard said they were. Tulsi Gabbard's an idiot. And even if she weren't, let's say they weren't on the verge of getting a nuclear weapon. We know they wanted to get a nuclear weapon. We know they were enriching uranium. How do we know? Because the not exactly pro-United States United Nations says, yes, they had ramped up their centrifuge capacity to enrich uranium beyond what is needed for civilian use. It's not like the United Nations is rah-rah America, and even the United Nations was like, wow, they've got a lot of enriched uranium. Maybe they weren't making a nuclear bomb. Maybe they were making a dirty bomb. Either way, we should stop them. These people, philosophically, and it's rational for them, they want to bring about the apocalypse. And that, honestly, is part of this. Pay attention to the loudest voices who are opposed to what Israel is doing and opposed to any American involvement. All of them use religion cynically. Marjorie Taylor Greene talks about Jesus while she's out there cheating repeatedly on her husband. Oh, you hate it when I point that out. She uses religion cynically. Tucker Carlson uses religion cynically. All of these people use religion cynically. They don't actually profess Christ with how they behave. They only profess him on their lips to lure you in, to make you think they are on your side. They use it cynically, and so they believe everyone else uses religion cynically because they don't really believe and practice and live their life like it. They don't think you do either. And so they're unfamiliar with people, particularly a government that actually could embrace a level of theocracy and a fundamentalist belief in some level of scripture. And that's what the Iranians do. The Iranian leadership is led by a mullah, a religious leader. It is the way the government is designed. It is fundamentalist. It is Islamic, and their worldview is that the Mahdi was born 2,000 years ago, is hidden in a fold in space, and will reveal himself at the apocalypse if only they will cause the apocalypse. That is the fundamental presuppositional reason for being for the Islamic Republic of Iran, is to bring about the return of the Mahdi by wiping out the Jews. And when the Iranian regime says that Israel is the little Satan, do you know who the great Satan is? That's us. Don't tell me we do not have a rational basis as a nation for helping Israel stop them from getting a nuke. They actually want the destruction of the United States. You don't have to believe me, believe them. Believe them. In every speech, they end with death to America. In every speech, they do it. They are responsible for numerous terrorist attacks inside the United States, including when Barack Obama was president, and they plotted repeatedly to assassinate Donald Trump. It's all there in the record. You don't need me to point it out to you. It is there. If that's not in our national interest, stopping a regime that's committed terrorism in the United States, attempted the assassination of Donald Trump twice, and also, and those are separate from the other two attacks, and also literally says its goal is to get a nuclear weapon to wipe out the Jews wherever they may be to bring about the apocalypse. Maybe, just maybe, this isn't nation building. Maybe, just maybe, it's common sense to stop these idiots from getting a nuclear weapon.